Are you looking to engage with your customers more effectively? You might want to consider an animated logo or explainer video for your business. This episode of The Chris Konya Show is brought to you by Luna Digital, a full-service animation studio located right here in Rochester. These guys are more than just freelancers. They've spent years building a tool set that rivals what you see at bigger studios. But it all comes down to the money, right? Well, Luna Digital can deliver award-winning results at a really affordable price. Do you already have a team? Don't worry. Their workflow is flexible enough to fit alongside your existing marketing efforts. More importantly, it means your budget can go further and do more than ever before. Luna Digital is the company we use here at the Rochester Podcast Network for everything from logos to on-screen graphics, design, and even inspiration. They're affordable, they work hard, and they help you meet your deadlines. Thanks for the love, Luna Digital. We're so happy to have you as part of the show and part of the Rochester Podcast Network. Visit lunadigital.tv and ask for Aaron Powell. Don't forget to tell them that Chris Konya sent you. Now, enjoy the show. Something to buy or upgrade to.
Tell me about it.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, we could start like that. I mean, this studio, I've gone through 2 different setups with tables. This is the second venue. Figuring out lights, moving the lights, then you needed something to mount the lights. It's insane.
Yeah, there's always, it's just keep adding stuff. You just never know. And the deeper you get into it, the more,
And by the time you fix the last thing, you get around to the first thing again.
Yeah. Got to improve that. Yeah, adjust that. Yeah.
It's like owning a house or anything else. But I appreciate you coming in today, Christian DeVinney. You're here to talk about that new business you just started, which is super exciting in any industry, right? To start a new business. Mission Over Man, right?
Yes, sir.
The
the
official title of that. Can you explain what that is briefly before we get into it?
Yeah. What the company is it's a firearms and tactical training company. Just starting up. We have a couple courses coming up on open enrollment and one for police and military, just doing pistol work, but open to doing and will do rifle and some other tactical training for any departments or people who want to learn that, home self-defense stuff, concealed carry, some beginner courses. The feedback's been really, really good. So kind of just trying to figure that out. I had kind of a target audience of, it was pretty open, of police and military, and then it was, and then some civilians, but the feedback has been really great and positive. And so I'm kind of staying open-minded, and I think that's probably the right thing to do, right?
Sure, of course.
But yeah, that's pretty much what we do. And then some private classes I've taught privately as well. So, Mission Over Man is essentially just, I assume you'll probably want to know where the name comes from, right?
Yeah, I'd love that. That's what was the next question.
What's that all about? Because it sounds, it kind of gives that military and military-esque kind of feel to it.
I just like that the acronym is MOM.
It's funny.
Get those female, get the female audience and female customers over.
Hey, everybody has a mom, right?
Sure.
So, it's kind of funny. I didn't even pick up on it till a couple of weeks ago, and a buddy of mine was harassing me and calling me, "I'm going to call you mom now." I'm like, and I didn't catch it at first because I was preoccupied, and then I'm like, "Oh, that's all right."
It's better than him calling you dad, like determination against dedication or something.
Whatever it is.
He calls you dad from now on.
No, that was So mom, Mission Over Man. It's essentially, it just kind of comes from my background and some of the things that I find that are super, super important to help me do what I do, and support my beliefs and everything like that. And essentially, it's just the mission for what I do comes first, and it has to kind of be bigger than you in order to do some of the things that we are required to do. And I can get into that too in a minute, but essentially, being in law enforcement locally and doing it for 22 years, you have to find something bigger than you in order to really sacrifice to the depth that I am, and some of the guys I work with are willing to do that. So essentially, mission could be different for a lot of people, right? So I'm not just in law enforcement. I'm not just starting this company, but I'm also a father and a husband and everything else, which can relate to a lot of people, and just like, do you have kids?
No, 4-year relationship. Probably going to take it to the next level soon.
Right.
But
So
I'm the oldest of 6 kids, and we've all been through a lot and stuff like that. So I kind of I'm getting what you're saying here.
Yeah. So it really just comes down to like something more important than you that you care about, and what you're willing to do that. And for other people, when if they're not doing what I do, they have things that they care about that's bigger than them, that they would be willing to do anything for, and essentially diving deeper into the firearms training and stuff. That's, I think, the other thing that I bring to it is people can teach you how to shoot a gun, but the things that go beyond that, like what you need to think about,
mentally, emotionally,
what you're really asking to do at the end of the day. Yeah, mentally, emotionally, and just the mindset behind it is kind of always been kind of my niche, the way I've trained for years and years, because it's super important. Anyone can own a gun. Anyone can shoot a gun. You can have the coolest gear and all that stuff, but it won't mean anything if you're not, willing to use it.
So does that is that something that you, I know you said you've done it, but is that what you can expect if you find your way into one of these classes or courses, I should say, where it's not just about where your thumb goes, where your pinky goes, how your shoulders work. It's where your brain and your mind goes in high intensity situations.
Absolutely. Once we square away fundamentals, and even I'm constantly always just trying to reinforce that, how important the mindset is, because I really care about people, and I want them. I care about what I put out. I care about those people, and at the end of the day, when they leave, I want them to feel more confident. I want them to be more knowledgeable, and I want them to want to do this, and I also want to be able to give them tools so they don't always have to come back to me in order to get better at certain skills. Sure, there's different levels that I can take you to, but I want to be able to give them tools that they can operate on their own, build, and I can go on this journey with them to make them better and better. And the only way they would want to continue to do it is if they really truly understand why they're doing it to begin with.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you really know your purpose and your why, and if it's bigger than you, you'll do it. You know what I mean?
Is there any kind of person that you might turn away from your course, where they're, it's something that they say that you don't like or you don't think is safe or anything like that? Or have you not crossed that bridge yet?
I haven't really crossed that bridge yet, but the biggest thing obviously with firearms is safety, and it has to be, right? Like, it's important for me and it's important for the students, and that's just, no one should really not tolerate, someone unsafe on the firing line. So yeah, safety is a huge concern. If, again, we can have fun, like, by no means do I run a line where it's just like, drill sergeant on the line. That's absolutely.
So not a lot of people want to sign up.
Yeah, and that's not the way that I teach anyway. And most people will tell you that. I'm a very approachable guy. I leave a pretty open and learning environment. But yeah, turning people away. I would just say, as long as they have the right mindset, and they're willing, and they can listen to instruction, check the ego at the door. I really won't have a problem. We'll check safety concerns. That's always a standard that we go over. Violators, someone that just continues to violate things, is not listening. Well, maybe you need personal instruction, or maybe just now's not your time.
Now's not your time.
You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But, I'm pretty open to anybody, as long as, if they're checking with me, hey, they've already checked that box. They're dedicating their time and money with me, and I'm cool with that. But there is a standard that you have to meet, obviously, and that's being safe and being willing to learn, and again, checking your ego, because we also believe that ego is the biggest inhibitor of learning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I did this thing a couple of years ago, and this is how I met your lovely wife.
Yeah.
I was doing this little series of, I decided to pay off all my debt, and I lived and breathed this, right? And after like a couple months, people were like, you should teach classes. You should do this. I'm like, I am nowhere near qualified to, and I'm not like trying to brag about myself, but it just seems that like some people think they could teach so much faster than I would think I can at least.
Yeah.
How long was it before? Because you've been using or not using them, but trained in using firearms for over 20 years, right?
Yeah.
How long did it take for you? Like, okay, I think I can offer some expert advice. I mean, sure, it wasn't year 2 or year 4, right?
No, not at all.
Or how recently was it?
That's a great question. Yeah, right. No, that's a great question. I was a experienced police officer for probably, I started in '98, and then around 2007, 2008, I was kind of given a chance to do some teaching to a bunch of guys. I'm on a tactical team, and I've been doing that for 15 years. So,
okay, wow.
So that, we get to do a lot of stuff there. But I learned from, some of the best in the world operators, and I kind of brought that back, and I was kind of giving it to the guys on the team. And, it's a bunch of alpha males, and no one holds back, So that's why I kind of cut my teeth teaching a little bit there. And, and I just really, really enjoyed learning, was the biggest thing. Once I kind of started getting that, like you couldn't stop me. And then I just started teaching people. And I think it just comes from me, maybe personally, that I'm just, I made a lot of mistakes. I know I'm not perfect. The more I learn, the more the more experience I get, I know there's just so much more to learn. You know what I mean? I'm very open-minded, and I think that's why I do well. At least the feedback. I guess I wouldn't be doing this if
sure.
if I didn't think I was going to be successful at it. But yeah, again, like I keep an open mind to things. I try to keep it a very comfortable learning environment. And to me, a comfortable learning environment is where you are welcome to screw up. You know what I mean? You are welcome to not know what you're doing. Like my job is to teach, you know what I mean? And I really take that to heart. And again, kind of bouncing around, like that's what I want people to do when they leave the class. I want to they walked away with something. And I believe, I do truly believe that I can teach anybody how to be a better shooter. I've taught from beginning to, super advanced guys, different agencies, different teams. And again, it's like anything, there's good and bad, and you can go to a lot of different teachers. Like we've all had teachers throughout our life, right? And you think about the ones who inspired you, right? And why, because they encouraged you.
They listened.
And they pushed you when you didn't believe in yourself, and you were comfortable to make mistakes.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's how you learn, right? You figure out where your limit is. You know what I mean? And you only get to that limit by making a mistake and finally going, oh, okay, there's more to learn there. And it's not really a bad thing that happens. It's simply just something that happened that gave you more feedback and information what you can do better next time. It's not necessarily a bad thing.
What's the age requirement for your course? For someone to take
21 years and up, and valid pistol permit holder.
Valid permit. Okay, so this isn't to learn. This isn't a course to get your pistol permit. This is after you have it and you want to get good or better at it.
Correct. So yeah, right now, listen, you if you got a family member or a friend that has a pistol permit and you're like not sure what you want to do, I would say go out there, get some shooting in and just see if it's something that you really truly want to do. For me, it's like showing that level of commitment that you're willing to get your permit. Cool, and I will help you get that ball rolling and teach you how to handle that firearm, properly and safely. And that's quite the process right now.
Yeah,
to
do all that. Yeah, before, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a waiting list just to put, at the time of this recording at least, there's a waiting list to put an application in for fingerprints and all that, background check and all that, right?
Yeah, correct. And they're scheduling at least a month out just to receive the application.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So you got to fill out the application, get that online. And then once you get that, you can take it in, but you have to schedule that appointment ahead of time. Right now, it's I think it's a little over a month right now that they're taking appointments. So once you do that, then you're looking at a couple months just for the permit itself to be processed. So yeah, it's a hot topic right now where everyone's trying to get a permit.
Do you give information on what kind of equipment to buy or kind of a pistol or whatever to buy for the person?
Well, online anyway, for courses and everything like that, I kind of give an equipment list breakdown, and it's just based, pistol, functioning pistol. Now I could go in more depth on that, and then for rifle courses, obviously functioning rifle with the sighting system and so on and so forth. But it kind of brings me to something I was thinking about doing, was a little Intel video to just kind of help people along this little journey of like, hey, everyone just thinks that gun looks cool and they just buy it, and then they get it to the range and then they shoot it and they're just like, oh wow, this is just not what I expected and it doesn't feel right. So that's the biggest thing, is get with somebody who knows or whatever, and figure out what you're going to do with it. Like, are you just going to take it to the range? Are you going to use it legitimately for self-protection? Because there's subcompacts, compacts, and then full size, and they all have their application. Subcompacts can get a little harder to handle, and then you got to figure out caliber. And that's always a hot topic with firearms guys, is caliber. And I'm a big fan of 9mm, and then making sure that you get the right round if it is for self-protection. And because again, with a higher caliber weapon, like a .45 caliber, for instance, is just a bigger, heavier round. Gives a little bit more kick. And there's a big debate on that too, but you can't really beat like good round placement when you're trying to.
I'm sorry.
Down.
Did your now your course or courses? Do you feel that you plan to, or maybe they already do, teach something more than the actual firing of a firearm? Like, do I get discipline or patience or something? What do you think there's layers to your courses?
Yeah, great question. No, there definitely is. So basically, a level 1 course is just going to teach you the basic fundamentals, how to shoot that accurately. Know that when you pull the trigger, you are confident, you know where that round's going to go. And then being able to deploy that gun from however you're carrying that, whether it's an outside the waistband holster or inside the waistband concealed, and then loading and doing everything. When that thing locks back or has a malfunction, I want people to feel very confident that they know how to handle all those situations. And then we do a little bit of an intro at the end of the class on level 1 into some moving, because again, a lot of encounters, at least on the civilian side and law enforcement, military side, not a lot of them are standing still. So as you can imagine, right?
Yeah, I can only imagine.
You can only imagine, right? So yeah, and then level 2, I'll get into more shooting on the move, in those kinds of things, and then shooting around barricades and everything else, and understanding cover and concealment, and what really is cover and concealment.
How difficult is it to teach? Now, we mentioned this earlier, but how difficult is it to teach or try to train or prepare someone mentally or emotionally? I mean, you being a person who's been around it and been in many of those situations, I'm sure, and being around other people in those situations where maybe you talk shop, like we all see in like the TV shows and movies. You all go to the bar after and talk about whatever. I don't know if that's how it happens, but how do you kind of get that into someone's head? To either, is it breathing exercises? Do you just tell a lot of stories and hope they resonate? I mean, what's the without giving away your secret sauce here.
No, not at all.
What's the theory on getting someone to be emotionally prepared when they get into a situation where they might need to use their firearm?
Yeah, it's really just talking in some generalities about, like kind of I was saying earlier, purpose and your why, and really thinking about, the people that you care about. Like, why are you carrying a gun to begin with? You know what I mean? Like, it's cool if it's just recreation and target practice, but if it's truly self-protection or it's to protect your loved ones, then you need to really take a deep dive into that and think about that. And I do go over some things that helps you think about that stuff. And then we also go over a lot of things that to prevent you from ending up in those situations too, because I certainly I want to prevent those as much as possible, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, when someone has to shoot their gun, like, you need to think about that well before it happens, to be as best prepared as you possibly can. Because, myself or anyone that's doing this, like, I can't be in every possible incident imaginable, but I sure can think about it. You know what I mean? So it's definitely, again, going through that mental process and figure out what's important to you and what you're willing to do about that. That's kind of the way we go down that road. Mm-hmm. And again, we have open talks in my classes. It's a back and forth, because I want to try to meet as many needs as possible. and leave them with something. And again, I don't expect anyone to just get it right out of the gate when I talk to them. But I like to pique their interest in that. When, I'm always available to call, come back, and I've got a lot of great phone calls and conversations and back and forth with people to help them work through some of these things, because it's a lot to think about. Like, think about it. We don't want to do the hard stuff. We don't want to think about the hard stuff. You know what I mean? But when it comes to really truly taking care of the people that we care about, like, yeah, those are things we got to think about if this is the way you want to go. I hope that kind of makes sense.
No, that made perfect. That makes perfect sense. I mean, there's no right answer, right? Because you could say, "Hey, watch this video like you did in high school," or watch, all this other stuff. But and everybody's a different learner, right? Like if I went through it, I went through something traumatic recently, and it changed a lot of how I look at people and the world and think, and my patience has changed, and empathy has been just submerged into my gut. It feels like, but yeah, unless you're not going to put someone through it, so you have to find a way to.
You got to help them kind of prepare for it. You know what I mean? And that's, again, one of the talks that we have is just preparing yourself mentally and physically and whatever for it. And again, like you kind of touched on, everyone kind of comes from a different background. They
might hear one story and sympathize or empathize with it. I get those two confused. Or they might need to hear that one story that they can relate to, whether it's where it happened or who it happened to or with or whatever. I hear you.
Yeah, because I can give you plenty of my own stories, but I also know plenty of other people too. And that's the other thing. You have to be open to everything, to truly be able to learn, otherwise, like we talked about when we first started talking about the ego, if you think you got it all figured out, well, I got nothing for you. You know what I mean? I guess you're on your own. I guess you get it all figured out. You don't need me.
Yeah. On that, I'm curious. Let's just talk about the benefits of these two situations, because this is a business here. We don't want to discourage anybody from signing up for your course.
Not at all.
The benefits of somebody who is a brand new pistol permit owner, or a gun permit, pistol permit, versus the benefits of trying to train and teach someone who's had it for 10 years, let's say.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's somewhat benefits in both, or would you just completely prefer to train one of the other?
You know what? I'll train both, because you can. They both have benefits, right? You have the beginner who doesn't have any bad training scars yet, and then you've got the experienced one who's got a really good handle on stuff, and then you just try to teach them the new way, and it takes some work to some practice, whether it's at the range and consistent practice at home and dry firing, to break some of those bad habits. But either one, been successful in both, so all good. Now, if you were to ask me which one's easier to teach sometimes, male or female, I'll tell you a female all day long, right? Most guys will say that, right? That's not really a huge secret, and that's really just because most guys think they can just depend on their strength, and it's really not all about strength. You're holding this cannon in your hand, but it's not going to go flying out of your hand. Just firmly hold it, and it takes a lot more technique, and women know that, and they pay attention to that, and again, men just think they can just strong arm it, and it takes a little
I'll figure it out.
Okay, you don't need to choke the gun, it's fine, and it takes a lot of talking them down to get them going.
It's like the guys who buy power tools and drill a hole in a beam, and their arm gets twisted up, and they're in a sling an hour later.
Just take it easy.
No, I hear you. Are these courses a day, half a day, a week? How does it work?
So they're 8-hour days.
Per course?
Per course.
Okay.
Yep, per course. And then I may offer a level 2 or some of the advanced courses in 2-day increments, just depending on, class size and what I'm really trying to cover. I'm probably going to do more like 2 days on some of the more advanced courses. And then I may do some of the, pistol and rifle courses, level 1 and level 2 back to back. That way they can kind of just flow right into it. There's a positive and negative to that too sometimes. The positive sometimes is it gives people the opportunity to kind of take what they learn, kind of think about it, you know what I mean? Put it in place and then come back and then just really take them to the next level. And that's all I'm trying to do is get them through the basics, get them shooting on the move, getting them to be able to move around barricades, understanding cover and concealment. Because again, your environment, it's a very dynamic environment when God forbid something like that happen. But just having a good overall understanding to be prepared.
Sure. And are you the only trainer as of right now, or?
Right now I am the owner and lead instructor, yes.
Great.
But I do have other guys that I would like to kind of bring in.
And I'm sure there's a minimum criteria and amount of experience, obviously, to become an instructor and stuff like that. Not that this is not an application for your applications for employment, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
This is just that when you go to Mission Overman, you're gonna get experience from well-experienced instructors.
Yeah, I want them to know at the end of the day, like, I've got, I believe that I have the background to back up what I'm putting out there. I think that's super important. And again, like, for people who are just picking out, don't have a permit or anything yet, there's plenty of, I think, places out there that will take you, or a family member that will take you shooting, or businesses, I believe, other firearms companies that will take you on. I just prefer to take on the people with permits, and it's just a little easier to handle that way.
Yeah, to know that they're serious, like you said earlier.
Yeah,
it makes perfect sense.
Because where I'm trying to go, again, is put them in the right mindset and better prepared at the very end of the day.
And to be frank, this isn't a get-rich-quick thing for you. I'm looking at your prices. You're between $200 and $250 so far with a quick browse of missionoverman.com.
Yep.
So it's a long course. 8 hours of nonstop instruction really is a lot of value for a couple $100.
Yeah, I would definitely say you look at a lot of other guys, and I'm definitely more on the reasonable side. And again, here's the other thing. I've paid plenty of times to go outside, and that's the other thing I'm always willing to do, is always willing to learn from my students, from other people, and I guess the benefit that we don't really have around here is a lot of good experienced instructors who put this stuff out. I've had to go out of state and everything else to do this, so now you're looking at travel and hotel and so on and so forth. And I can give you exactly what they got.
So what happens now? I should have asked this earlier, but outdoor, indoor course, how does it work? And what happens if it is outdoor? What happens in the winter? Do we go indoor?
Yeah,
it's hybrid?
It's in the heavier, I gotta say heavier winter months in Rochester, right? I'm not sure what the classes are going to look like for that. I'd like to really push it maybe into November. December, January, February is always a little sketchy in Rochester, so I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. As far as indoor classes, there's there's a few that are here locally, and I just got to make sure there's a lot of good ranges in the area. They all have their limitations, so I just got to see what I can put on and what the ranges willing to let me do. But so far, everyone's been really, really great that I've encountered.
So missionoverman.com, you could keep up with those updates, because I know your courses are selling pretty well, so that's great. It'd make a great. I think this would make a great gift, and this is the sales part of me, but if I'm looking forward to a Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate in the winter, all the way into the winter birthdays for your brand new pistol permit owner, family members, or friends, go to missionoverman.com and check out what Christian's doing. You sound like a great guy. You sound like, somebody who doesn't go into business until 22 years of experience. You really want to make sure you know what you're doing, who you're doing it for, what you're offering.
Yeah, man.
And now you have that baby to support, so you gotta get something.
A year and a half year old boy.
Oh, he's adorable, man.
He's great. He's super happy, and with my experience, I'll mention that real quick. So I don't leave you hanging here for too long, but pretty much local police officer, still full time doing that, along with the tactical team, and then I'm also in charge of a task force. So 15 years with that tactical team, and our primary job is hostage rescue, right? So that's like, to us, that's the hardest thing that we could possibly do. So that's the thing we train for, because everything else kind of gets easier after that.
Sure.
Easy.
Yeah. It sounds crazy to say.
Loosely, right?
Yeah.
But the opportunities that I've had throughout my career, to the training I've been able to do, the guys that I've been able to meet, best in the world at what they do, doing those things and those disciplines. I just had a tremendous opportunity to be able to do the things that I do, and I just really want to be able to pass it on, because I do this because I care about my community and everything like that, and I just want them to be better off. I want them to feel more like an asset than a liability, and they they deserve it. You know what I mean? That's why I got into this, was to help people, like into this job.
Sure.
I just want to help people, and now I have an opportunity, and I believe a good skill set that I can pass on to people.
It's wonderful, man. I'm
man.
I'm excited for you. Missionoverman.com, like we said. This is what Rochester Rally is around, man. Small business, young couple that's who are involved with it. Your son, and you're getting an amazing amount of value for a great price, and I think it's going to be really successful, and I'm happy you stopped by to talk about it.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me. Got to get you out on the range.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Weekend, I don't know.
That sounds good to me. All right. Thanks for listening to the Chris Konya Show and watching, and you know the drill. Subscribe, share it, like, and support Mission Overman, a brand new small business here in Rochester. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
That was cool. Got your steel. Awesome.
It's been too long since I spoke clear and strong. Just something about this concrete gets me down.